Lewis Ritson, OHARA Davies this Saturday. It's on the Fight streaming platform. Now, it almost was going to be broadcasted by Sporting Icons on his YouTube channel, but they've went for Fight. Now, with Pro Bellum looking like they're getting disbanded again and trying to reinvent themselves as Disrupt Promotions, it's left a lot of their fighters in limbo. Lewis Ritson, he was at Pro Bellum. He's fighting OHARA Davies Saturday. And there's no network. There's no network in the UK who would pick up the fight. Sky didn't pick it up. BT, Channel 5 didn't pick it up. DAZN didn't pick it up. And I think it's a shame. This is a good domestic fight. I think it's a shame. Phil Jeffries, he's put on a good card here. He's got Thomas Patrick Ward, Lee McGregor. These are good standard domestic fighters. There's a lot of undefeated prospects on here, and not one of the networks picked it up. That's a shame. That's a shame. OHARA's fought the tougher opposition, and despite Ritson being labelled the British Golovkin when he was on Matchroom at 135, OHARA has the higher knockout percentage and has heavy hands, as acknowledged by Josh Taylor. Both men have actually had controversial decisions against Miguel Vasquez that neither should have got. Ritson, he's been stopped once by world title challenger Ponce, who lost to SUBRIEL Matias Saturday gone. OHARA, he's been stopped once by Josh Taylor. Lost a close decision to Jack Catterall as well, which to me was an even fight. It was a draw. There was no decisive winner there. OHARA, 24 wins, 17 knockouts, 2 losses. Lewis Ritson, 23 wins, 13 inside the distance, 2 losses. He's 29 years of age, Lewis Ritson. OHARA is 31. Who wins this one? It's a tough one to pick, actually. I have a feeling that Lewis Ritson, the hometown fighter, might be a bookie's favourite. He may throw too much punches for OHARA. It was a little economic, but you have to watch out for OHARA's power. He does have good power and can be quite a crafty boxer as well. It's a good matchup. It's a really good matchup. It's a good matchup. So, we was told a few days back that Andy Ruiz parts with the PBC, now a promotional free agent. But Andy, he says, on behalf of himself and Team Ruiz, he would like to thank TGB Promotions, which is Tom Brown, the president, for their great support. But he says his contract with them has come to an end, and he will now be moving forward as part of the PBC family with Al Heyman as his advisor. So, where these people are getting their sources from in the boxing world has to be examined and questioned. And he's still with the PBC. So, no, he hasn't left like we all thought. What does that mean? I still think Al is going to outsource a lot of the work because Showtime and Al are just not bringing enough dates forward for the fighter. So he could still end up on DAZN or Top Rank Fighting. It just depends what's the best deal, I guess, for Andy and Heyman, I guess. Like the majority of TGB's shows have been with Al Heyman fighters, apart from the likes of Boots and maybe a few more. So it looks like Al is more distancing himself from Showtime more than anything. I don't see TGB putting shows on Showtime and Al getting another promoter doing shows on Showtime. There's just not enough room, just not enough dates. It's not going to happen. So it looks like Al and Showtime, there could be a rift between him, Al, and Steven. Could be. Wilder himself dispelled rumours that he left the PBC too. He just said that he's an open agent now, but he's still working with the PBC and cool with Al Heyman, etc., etc.
One question the fans want to know in the UK, is there any truth to you signing with Eddie Hearn at all or not?
That's negative.
Okay, thank you.
See, that just writes him off from a whole load of good matchups automatically when he says that. But that's what he wants. You know, maybe he's going to fight Fury. So he's still taking it all very personal. So let's see where it goes. Let's see where this is heading. Richard Riakporhe, he says he would smoke BADOU Jack and MAKABU both on the same night within 2 rounds. I don't blame them running from the midnight train. Is BADOU Jack really running from Richard? I mean, he only won the title Saturday. At least let the paint dry, call him out, and depending on how he responds, then you can say he's running or not. I'd fancy his chances against BADOU Jack, a 39-year-old BADOU Jack, a natural super middleweight. yeah, I'd fancy Richard's chances. BADOU obviously took the title from MAKABU, stopped him in the 12th in Saudi on Sunday, and was a way better fight than Tommy and Jake. It was actually a really good fight. It looked like MAKABU was going to wear Jack down with body shots, but Jack is better fundamentals. He looked a lot longer than MAKABU, but he's only an inch taller, and MAKABU apparently had the longer reach, but it didn't appear that way in the ring. But, you know, Jack made better use of range than MAKABU. MAKABU looked very slow. Looked like he just slowed down all of a sudden, got old overnight. BADOU has one of the best high guards that I've seen in modern day boxing. And he's a stylish boxer without being flashy. Lands beautiful uppercuts, and his straight right was quite impressive. Relaxed style, and on his best nights, he keeps his shape from the first to the last bell. Even when he's been buzzed or hurt, gets back up, poker-faced, all business. I like BADOU Jack. I like watching BADOU Jack. 2 knockdowns, fight stopped in the 12th, and he's the WBC Cruiserweight champion. I never saw that coming, and the Saudis will be elated with that. Elated that he's become champion, because he is an ambassador for boxing out there, and he's kind of their champion right now at 39 years of age. Like, some people, they don't know when to stop. I heard people saying this would have been a cherry pick for Canelo, meaning MAKABU. MAKABU would have been a cherry pick for Canelo to win a title on the basis of what they saw BADOU Jack do to MAKABU. And it's the most ridiculous statement. You know, like, let's just start here. We're assuming that Canelo would beat BADOU Jack at 168. We're just assuming that he would. And I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'm telling you, I'm not assuming that Canelo just wins that fight. I'm just saying, MAKABU and Jack was a competitive fight. Better yet, could Canelo beat BADOU Jack at cruiser at 200 pounds? And Jack was hurt by them body shots. In phases of the fights, the body shots were taking their toll. Canelo ain't taking body shots from a puncher like MAKABU. What if MAKABU lands that left hook that decked Tony Bellew on Canelo's chin? People just assume that anyone can just go up to cruiserweight from 154 or 147 and fight cruiserweights. You're just assuming that, but it's nonsense. It's fraught with danger. Even now, the MAKABU fight is fraught with danger for anyone in boxing who started at 154 or 147, even after the BADOU Jack loss. Another cliched saying in boxing, but it's as true as anything you want to say, is there's a reason they have weight classes. BADOU's dimensions are totally different from Canelo's. Totally different. So it might be a different fight at 168 and a totally different fight at cruiser. He's a naturally bigger man than Canelo. People need to remember there was a couple of decisions that BADOU didn't get in his career that he should have got. A couple. The DeGale fight, the Butte fight, and BADOU is a very good fighter. You know? Very clever fighter. You watch the MAKABU fight, there's certain things he does, like his adjustments. Like, when the body shots were thudding in, you saw the way he dug his elbows into his midsection. He dug his elbows in to ward off the shots. People underestimate certain fighters. I don't know what that is, but the whole, if BADOU Jack beat him, then Canelo could, is ridiculous. Now, it was not a strange weekend, but the way the events conspired, BADOU Jack, a former TMT fighter with Mayweather, became champion at cruiserweight in front of a packed out crowd and maybe one of the biggest boxing events of this century. Yeah, I said it. His former boss, Floyd Mayweather, former cash cow of the sport, pound for pound #1, pay-per-view record holder for American boxing, fought in a very sparse crowd at the O2 on Saturday. Apparently some of the tickets were being sold for £7.50. 50 Cent was clowning him. 50 Cent is not a nice dude, not because he's having a go at Floyd, but he's not a very nice individual. Very talented, good rapper, made some great songs, but not a nice dude. I'm more connecting a lot of that to the way he treated certain members of G Unit, but forget that. Yeah, Floyd was in a sparse O2 Arena, like barely no one there, against this Chalmers guy from Geordie Shore or whatever it was. And somebody made a reference to the Harlem Globetrotters, who used to do a lot of exhibition basketball matches. I used to watch them in the 70s. They used to be on TV quite a lot. And these exhibitions were off the chain, like the tricks, especially as a young kid. And they were huge in the United Kingdom. They were huge. Now, back then, I think the teams comprised of retired players or maybe injured players who couldn't quite cut the pace at NBA, but in exhibition games, they're fine or whatever. And the skill level of what they're doing was brilliant. Whoever referenced Floyd and the Harlem Globetrotter exhibition thing, like he's going through that phase, nah, it's not comparable. The Harlem Globetrotters, what they were doing was on another level to what Floyd can produce now in terms of entertainment. Mayweather, you know, he tried a few tricks in there, spinning around and sitting on the top rope and dancing with the ring girl. It just didn't work. It worked better with Don Moore. I believe that was last year. It worked a little better there, but this, nah, it didn't really work. And look, if he's getting his money, that's fair enough, but his legacy is tied to his money as well. And if the crowd is not turning up, it's not sustainable. It just doesn't look good for him. He might just get a guarantee regardless of what the crowd turnout is, but no, it's not a good look. And in contrast to that, the following Sunday, you had this huge event in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia, which a lot of people are looking at as the potential new home in terms of the Mecca of boxing. And we didn't have two conventional boxers headlining the show. A lot of people are complaining, like, boxing is not what people think it is, yeah? Boxing has always had a bit of P.T. Barnum, go look him up, in terms of how the show is being promoted. Boxing it didn't start, but boxing spent a lot of time in the fairgrounds of the United Kingdom, in the boxing booths. And if you look at some of the pictures, go do some research, it's a very bizarre look. Some of it looked like a total freak show. I saw Breakfast TV on BBC and ITV, both covering the sport this morning, spending time on it as well, on the event. They are bringing fresh eyes to the sport, whether people like it or not. I heard Ali McCoist, who used to play for Glasgow Rangers and talk sport. Oh, I feel sorry for the journeymen who are applying their trade and the thing. Stop it. Stop it. You just said it yourself, journeymen. Journeymen are never going to make big money, are never going to be centre stage. And there was journeymen on the card in Saudi Arabia, journeymen / trial horses, probably getting their biggest paydays ever. So they take advantage of big cards too. I tell you what, talk sport is fast becoming a farce of an outlet for boxing, relying on sensationalism rather than honest, hard journalism, blowing things way out of proportion. So what? Journeyman should be headlining the card? Is that what's happening? No. People who headline the card are the people who generate a fan base. It's as simple as that. Whether they're influencers or more conventional world-ranked boxers. It is what it is. And before anyone starts, I've got nothing but respect for journeymen, right? The lifeblood of the sport. So journeymen get work on these high-profile cards. That's what they're used for. I feel sorry for journeymen. I feel sorry for a journeyman if a promoter stiffs him on his money, on his purse, underpays him, but not just randomly feel sorry for journeymen. They're stupid. They're doing an honest day's work like a lot of people do in the country. It's as simple as that. Deontay Wilder, he was there. He said Jake Paul won. He thought the decision went the wrong way. I don't know if that's a genuine observation or he's got it in for the Furies. He did hug Fury and gave him blessings twice. I don't know where all the animosity went. Maybe they're best buds again. Might see Fury and Wilder 4. When Wilder was walking past, Fury called out Bomb Squad. And Wilder went and hugged the guy and said blessings twice. Fury didn't seem very receptive. I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong. Maybe he was a bit cautious because of what Wilder's been saying about the nature of Fury's wins. Fury called him a tosser and said he obviously feels guilty as he's come over and hugged me after all he's accused me of. But it was what it was. Let bygones be bygones. No harm done. It's not just boxing. A lot of sports is just physics, just the laws of physics. If you are a longer armed, taller guy swinging in the pocket with a shorter, more compact fighter, your body shots take longer. Maybe not take longer. That would depend on your hand speed. They have further to travel. They have further to travel to get to the target than the shorter armed guy. Now, the laws of physics are applied to the topic. Then after that, there's other variables. Like if you're going to be a long-armed fighter staying in the pocket, you got to set up your shots. Your timing has to be on point. And other factors. Technique. But in the breakdown for this fight here, I said, Ponce is more than likely going to just give away his height against the banger. And like, that's crazy. It's crazy. Ponce's punches started slowing down by the second round because he threw so many. And Matias ate them all. Also, Ponce is a bit of an arm puncher. But quite a powerful arm puncher. You can still generate power in your punches even if you're an arm puncher. Now, this was trench warfare. But once Matias started getting his left hook home, you could see the difference in power. You could see the difference in power. I would imagine that the CompuBox stats for jabs is very low for either man in this one. I would imagine, as expected. It looked like Matias didn't throw everything into his shots, at least not early. It looked like he was waiting for the Argentinian to blow himself out, and he obliged. But the two men would stand ring center and just hammer away at each other, and it was a great spectacle to view, as expected. It was. End of the third, there was an excellent right hook by Matias, and the power gap is beginning to tell. Ponce kept pushing forward and pressing, not taking a back step, not using his reach and his height, not at all, not interested in that. The last punch that landed, it was a low blow. It actually was a low blow, and a lot of punches missed. It was hard to say what put Ponce over, but he didn't want to continue. He quit, really. They say the corner pulled him out, but he quit. He did quit. Not popular language, but he quit. He didn't want no more. And Matias is now the IBF 140-pound champion. I don't think he's as good as a lot of people say he is. I think he'll be in very good fights, but I believe he's a beatable champion. Relies on slugging way too much. But, you know, you just got to look at the knockout percentage. He's a very dangerous guy. Very dangerous character. And I'm glad he is champion because he's going to make good fights, which is important if you're a boxing fan, isn't it? And hopefully the likes of Prograis, Taylor, or Lopez if he beats Taylor, don't avoid this guy. Don't avoid this guy. Let's get the belts unified again. They only got splintered last year. Hopefully we don't let them just float around the boxing cosmos fragmented. It's no good for boxing. It's no good. And there's too much good fighters in that weight class now. Ponce can come back, I guess. I mean, if he's still got the stomach for it, because it looked like quittage. Not such a word, but I'll coin it. It looked like quittage to me. And that was, you know, the hardcore fans' fight of the weekend. That was the PBC on Saturday. Ponce and Matias.
Thought you had two average novices getting world-class attention, world-class payday. I think our sport is probably suffering now from a bit of boxing snobbery. The old schools, the old boys will look at us and think, why are these novices getting such a platform? And the reason for that is because fighters can learn from the YouTubers like Jake Paul, like his brother Logan Paul. What they've done is they've marketed themselves where everybody and anybody knows who they are. Whereas fighters don't do that. They leave it to the managers. They leave it to the promoters to do that. But now you've got to move with the times. There was a world title fight on the undercard. Nobody's talking about it. They're talking about two guys, two novices, really, that boxed 8 rounds. And the viewing figures I gather are ridiculous. But professional fighters, professional boxers that have done this from being kids, they need to learn off the YouTube and say, right, I need to package myself. Give access to people. Get your mate following around with a video recorder. Get whatever you've got to do. Because why has Jake Paul gone in this position? That's exactly what he's done. So he may not be able to fight.
Here's the truth. You know, most boxers are not going to become famous. Let's not pretend that all journeyman Ali McCoist and all boxers can be on a big stage. They can't. It's as simple as that. But what's more important is at every level. Small hall, 4 rounders, 6 rounders, 8 rounders, area titles, 10 rounders, English titles, 10 rounders, British title, 12 rounders, European, 12 rounders, sanctioning belt fights, 12 rounders, that we have evenly matched contests that the public want to see. If public demand is not met, the sport dies, right? If public demand is met, then you have more chance of more boxers being able to market themselves and make some money, yeah? All this, you know, we're going to do this extracurricular, I've got 50,000 Instagrammers, and all that crap there. Ask Ryan Garcia how much Instagram fans he has. His first pay-per-view is against Tank Davis, who probably has less Instagram fans than he does. And Tank's pay-per-view numbers are horrible. These guys have sat Tank and Ryan in the 135-pound weight class for about 4 or 5 years, or whatever it is, yeah? And haven't fought each other until the papers have been signed recently. They're going to fight now. We haven't got Crawford and Spence. All right, you could say Crawford and Spence don't have much of a personality, but that's not the reason the fights haven't happened. The fights have happened because of network issues. It's not because they're not jumping up and down, juggling shit and cracking jokes and opening up Instagram and YouTube channels. That's not why. Politics is ruining the sport. Jake Paul, Logan Paul and KSI are who they are. The term is influencer, YouTube boxing. They could fly kites and see who could fly them the highest to win. And they'd get numbers of people watching them. To me, boxers setting up cameras and trying to be these celebrities, for most of them, they won't be able to multitask, and it will take away from the application needed to become a top boxer. But at the same time, if you believe you can multitask and you've got a camera and you've got hidden skills that could perhaps promote you, well, I'm not against it. At the same time, you're going to do all that, right? You're going to set up a camera, you're going to open a YouTube channel, you're going to get Instagram, you're going to get Twitter, you're going to get this and that. Well, if you're promoting yourself, what is the actual promoter who you pay doing? What's he doing then? The promoters are not promoting. The biggest issue with boxing is the fights are not being made because of politics, networks, and a lack of cross-promotions. Let's not underestimate Jake Paul, KSI and Logan Paul. Let's not underestimate what they do. Thinking, oh, well, all they've got to do is a camera and be this quirky, perky guy and just act up. No. I've seen Logan Paul in television shows way before anyone who watches boxing knew who he was. I see him on wrestling and they were saying, oh, he's done a great job at wrestling. These kids have had to dedicate themselves to be an influencer, like you have to dedicate yourself to be a boxer. These influencers, YouTubers, TikTokers, a lot of them are waking up at the break of dawn to handle their business. They've got to pay staff, cameramen, lighting, stage manager. They're working, and it's hard work. It's not just glamour and, oh, I wish I could do that because it looks easy. No, you got to put the work in to be successful at it. I like to see sections of fighters maybe put together channels so they could talk about issues, health, safety, how to find sponsors, maybe have a call-out section. They could call out fighters, or 2 fighters could express, we want to make this fight, tell the promoters to get it done, how we can overcome lack of cross-promotion, why the fights ain't happening, break it down. Yeah, get a vibrant fighter channel going. That'd be good. I mean, Ali McCoy, you work at Talk Sport. If you're concerned about Journeyman, bring some on your show. Bring the Journeyman's Hour up every week. We'll watch. Some of us will watch. It might be a fringe program. And give them some exposure. You could be a spokesman and to get higher purses. There's no point in you coming on the one big event and then getting on your soapbox to try and elicit sympathy from boxers and respect from boxing fans. No, that's a cheap shot. It's a cheap shot. You can start that YouTube channel as well. Put the Journeyman on there. In Hollywood, Balboa was a journeyman who became somebody. I mean, Derek Chisora. He is a high-level journeyman. That's what he is. But he's also more famous than a lot of world-ranked champions, belt holders, and contenders. But anyone who believes, like Ali McCoy, that, journeymen are ever going to be on the same parity of purse as ranked contenders and champions generally is an idiot. Derek is the exception to the rule, just like Balboa is a fictional character.